again.
Welcome back to the Reverbium podcast. My name is Jimmy, and the boy to my right
is Sean.
There we
You
go.
confused me that time. You switched it up, and I weren't ready.
We got
for that, and I'm Sean. And yeah.
The subtle switch ups. This week there were a lot of trailers released. A lot of trailers for a lot of different movies and TV shows. So our focus at the end of the podcast will be about talking about them, we'll be about discussing them and just deciding maybe what our most anticipated out of all of them are, if we had to pick one. So yeah, but as always, we start off with the best part of the podcast. It's fine, you'll be playing Gran Turismo anyway, so yeah, you've been baited out.
I take this seriously and concentrate the entire time.
Yeah.
Although I do slightly die inside when you talk about wrestling.
But he'll be watching on the weekend,
everyone, I think.
No, you don't. No, there are people.
Let me know in the comments if you skip the wrestling section.
Nobody lets us know anything in the comments.
That's true. They will eventually. Someday, someone will.
If you hate wrestling, comment on this video.
I'm talking to you. Please comment.
But yeah, we'll be discussing night 1 of NXT Takeover, Stand and Deliver. We haven't seen night 2 because we record this on the Thursday. So on the WrestleMania special next week, which Sean is so excited for. Look at his face. To be fair, he probably is more excited for WrestleMania than anything else that we do wrestling wise.
Get your dicks out for WrestleMania.
But we will discuss NXT Takeover night 2 then. But for Stand and Deliver night 1,
discuss. I'm not saying anything.
I will discuss NXT Takeover night 1 now. Stand and Deliver took place as usual in the Capitol Wrestling Center. It wasn't in front of a crowd. Well, it was in front of a crowd, but a very, very limited crowd around the barrier at the Capitol Wrestling Center. They didn't do what they're doing for WrestleMania this year, which is fair enough. They didn't need to. But yeah, it was part 1 of a 2-night event. They're sort of following the same vein as WrestleMania did last year and this year, because this is their big WrestleMania-like event. So why not? But the pre-show match started off with Zoe Stark defeating Toni Storm in 9 minutes and 52 seconds, according to this, which like a decently quick match and a decent affair by all. I think I tweeted that Zoe Stark's been gaining a lot of momentum, so this just continues that going forward. Toni Storm had her chance recently at the title, so it's not surprising that she lost here because they're building new women in the division. Pretty decent match. But then we get onto the main card, which featured 2 of my favourite wrestlers currently, 2 of the best technical wrestlers, and that is Kushida and Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne, Mr. England, from Birmingham. His actual name's Peter England, Sean. There's a big fact for you.
Why did he change that? Surely that is even better for him as a wrestler.
I think his name before he came to WWE.
Dunne's a superior surname.
Yeah, why are you complaining?
He spelled it shit. He spelled it the shit way.
He puts an E at the end.
Exactly, shit way.
The shit way. But yeah, Pete Dunne defeated Kushida. Not surprised here. Pete Dunne is probably the future of the company. He's, I think, maybe just 25, so he's not that far off from us in age. But yeah, he is the future of the company.
People our ages, Jimmy. Jesus.
You let them know our full names. If they really wanted to look, they'd look us up. But yeah, Pete Dunne won here. Kushida's also excellent. Pete Dunne had new music coming out too, and Twitter did not like it at all. I thought it was pretty good, but his old theme song is elite. It's one of the best songs that WWE had. So I'm sure this one will grow, but it's not as good as his old one currently. We haven't heard a full version, but yeah, he got the win. It looks like he might eventually um, go for the North American title, since he lost against Finn Balor recently for the main title, the NXT title, which would be interesting. And then he'll probably eventually take the NXT title from whoever has it down the line. But yeah, that was a really good match, but that was also really short. A lot of the matches, they weren't short, but they might have felt shorter because it was, while it was airing on the WWE Network and Peacock, it also aired on the USA Network, so there were like limited ad breaks in between that a lot of people watching on the USA Network didn't get to see some of the wrestling or some of the entrances. So a lot of the matches were shorter because they had to keep within like the 2 hour time frame, and takeovers usually go about 2.5 hours. So tomorrow, well, tonight's or last night's, if or by the time you're watching this, um, will be slightly longer, I believe.
Thank you for explaining how time works, Jimmy.
Well, some people need it, Sean. Some people need it. But yeah, the next match was the 6-man gauntlet eliminator match, and the winner would receive an NXT North American title shot tomorrow night, or night 2. And the match featured Isaiah Swerve Scott, Cameron Grimes, LA Knight, Dexter Lumis, and Leon Ruff, and the winner, Bronson Reed. That was not a shock win, because he was probably top 2 or top 3 for me. I think he was my second pick to win, but I thought Dexter Lumis was going to win this because he's the one with the feud with Johnny Gargano, who's the current North American champion right now. And he got rolled up by LA Knight, who was then taken out by, I think, Bronson Reed or Isaiah Swerve Scott. I don't remember. And then LA Knight was choked out after he was eliminated by Dexter Lumis as revenge. So yeah, Bronson Reed got the win here. Swerve Scott was really good in this match, really showcased his talents, and Reed should be a good challenger. I don't know if he'll win the belt tomorrow, but it should be an interesting match all the same. The next match, probably the best match on the card. I wish it had gone a bit longer. It still went 16 minutes or so, but these two could probably have done 30 minutes and it's still been the best match on the card. But that was Walter successfully defending his NXT UK Championship against Tommaso Ciampa. Very hard-hitting affair. Walter beat the shit out of Ciampa right at the end, and then beat him with a chop to the chest just to show how strong he is, how powerful he is, because you wouldn't want to. I mean, we all know wrestling's predetermined, but you wouldn't want Walter smacking you in the chest with the power that he has. That man could knock your head off with his right hand. But yeah, that was an awesome match, and if there's a match from this night that I'd say go and watch, it would be that one, especially if you love the hard-hitting affairs of wrestling. The fifth match on this card was MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans, which features Liverpool's #1 Zach Gibson and James Drake, and Legado del Fantasma in a triple threat tag team match for the vacant NXT Tag Team Championships. MSK had recently won the Dusty Cup, beating Grizzled Young Veterans, and I thought Grizzled Young Veterans were about to take the gold here. I thought they were going to win. Liverpool's #1 would actually win a title this season, but didn't happen. Shaking his head. But it didn't happen. MSK got the win, which is insane considering they've just got to NXT. They've been here for like 3 months, and they've won the Dusty Tag Team Classics and the NXT Tag Team titles within those 3 months. Probably the fastest anyone's ever won the tag titles and the Dusty Cup, which is insane. But yeah, they got the win. They were formerly, if anyone's unfamiliar, they were formerly the Rascals in Impact Wrestling. and 2 of them signed with NXT, and here they are. So yeah, awesome match as well. I'd recommend watching that if you have the time. The card isn't that long, it's only 2 hours, so if you have time to watch something and you're into wrestling, I'm sure you'll be fine with that. And the final match and the main event of the night was Raquel Gonzalez, who was accompanied to the ring by Dakota Kai and Io Shirai, who was defending her NXT Women's Championship for, I think she'd held it for over 300 days, maybe 310 or so days. She's held it for a long time, but not for much longer. She held it for 15 minutes longer, and Raquel Gonzalez got the win, completely wiped her out, then took her out with the one-handed, one-armed powerbomb. Sorry. Yeah, brutal match. Io Shirai jumped off the skull on the entrance ramp, which she likes to jump off things. She does it every match. Probably the best one before this was Takeover in Your House, when she jumped off the house onto Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. But yeah, this I wouldn't say it's a shock because I thought it might happen, but I see Io Shirai maybe going to Raw and SmackDown soon, if that's what they want to do with her, because she's like so early in her WWE career. Technically, she's been there for like nearly 2 years, but that's like she's accomplished a lot and can take it so much further if she moves up to Raw and SmackDown. But yeah, that's it for the card. We'll just run over what's going to be in night 2. Won't talk about it, but we will see Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart take on The Way for the NXT Tag Team Championships, the Women's Tag Team Championships. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart are the champions in that case. We will see a ladder match to determine the undisputed NXT Cruiserweight Champion between Jordan Devlin and Santos Escobar, who are both the NXT Cruiserweight Champions right now. The story behind that is that Devlin was stuck in the UK with the championship, or was stuck in Ireland, and they had a tournament for the interim championship, and Escobar won that, and he's been the champion since. So this will, provide an undisputed champion in that sense. Johnny Gargano will defend the North American Championship against Bronson Reed. Expected, from night 1. Adam Cole will face off against Kyle O'Reilly, his former stablemate in the Undisputed Era, in an unsanctioned match. This might be the best match from both nights, or for WrestleMania weekend. It's got probably the best story from any wrestling match currently, and I expect Adam Cole to lose that, because it seems the right time for Kyle O'Reilly to get the win and Adam Cole to move over to Raw and SmackDown, or SmackDown. And the final match, the main event, will be Finn Balor defending the NXT Championship against Karrion Kross. That is either going to be a very fast squash match for Karrion Kross, who will unexpectedly defeat Finn Balor, who's been a great champion, or it might be a competitive affair, but I think Kross will also get the victory there. So that is the NXT Takeover night 1 so far, and the rundown of the card of night 2. I'll quickly go over the other wrestling news because they're only small pieces. Mike Tyson appeared on AEW Dynamite last night once again. He had an interaction with Chris Jericho, and they buried the hatchet or something. I think it was just a loose thread, and they realized that they weren't going to be able to get Mike Tyson in the ring or something for a mini match, so they just sort of got him on to try and compete with NXT, but also just get rid of the storyline thread. But yeah, he appeared on AEW last night, along with a heel turn that happened with the Young Bucks, which for me was a poor decision, but I don't really like the Young Bucks anyway. So yeah, that is AEW. And one more little bit of news, which is quite a shock, but it was revealed this week that on Stone Cold's Broken Skull Sessions podcast, Chris Jericho will be making an appearance, which is a shock because Chris Jericho currently works for AEW, and the Stone Cold podcast is heavily affiliated with WWE, and it is on the WWE Network and Peacock, and it's part of WWE's advertising, and they always show it. So it's quite a shock for Chris Jericho to actually turn up, and apparently Vince McMahon said that he was totally okay with it. He gave his his approval for it. So yeah, that is all the wrestling news for this week. That is 15 minutes of the podcast gone. Sean is dying inside. He's probably playing Gran Turismo. I don't know what he's doing.
I'm not actually. But welcome back, everybody who skipped 15 minutes.
Welcome
nice
back.
To still have you around, even if we have lost 15 minutes of watch time.
It's fine.
Nice to have you back.
Don't worry. I'm sure people understand that this is an entertainment podcast and they can skip the parts they want.
Let's move on to more interesting news. Corruption. What we love.
Corruption technically is more interesting news. You're not wrong.
It is. Chad have been banned from FIFA competitions because of government interference in running the country's football federation. Basically means corruption. If I'm honest, it doesn't really affect much. Chad had already been knocked out of the World Cup qualifiers. That was back in 2019. For some reason, African nations start really early qualifying for World Cups. They literally start immediately after the old one. They were knocked out in 2019 by Sudan, so they didn't have any games for that anyway.
Is it probably due to maybe weather? Because summertime in Africa surely got to be hotter to play football in. That's why we do World Cups. The Qatar one's going to be during their winter, isn't it? Our winter, because it's a different time. Is that not right?
One, Qatar's not in Africa.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that the weather's obviously yes. I assume the qualifiers take place early because of that. That was just a guess, speculation.
Genuinely had no idea. But it does mean that they were disqualified from the last month's final 2 rounds of the qualifying for the Africa Cup of Nations. Sorry. I doubt they would have made it through anyway, if I'm honest. They're not one of the top teams in Africa, so...
Just a bunch of chads.
In the statement from FIFA, they said the Bureau of the FIFA Council or the FIFA Council may lift the suspension at any time before the next FIFA Congress takes place and will form accordingly, so they could be back whenever. I assume it would be if they can prove that there's no longer government interference, I'd say. I'd assume that's what they need from them to be able to be allowed back in. So it's not permanent, but it is indefinite. No, it's not indefinitely. Whatever the word is. For now, they're banned as long as it's going to take. We have no idea when they'll be back. But as I said,
we just know it's a thing. We don't really know what's exactly.
But they won't be in the Africa Cup of Nations. They won't be in the World Cup. So it doesn't really matter if they get brought back in the next 2 years or not. They're not going to be at any of those competitions anyway. So yeah.
What a loss.
What a loss. We're all devastated. We had over to horse racing. We have the Grand National this week. Actually, I'm going to quickly go through the runners for that, as it is everyone's favourite race of the year. Just quickly find them. Sorry. Obviously, we spoke previously about Tiger Roll not coming back to defend his championship. He ran today. Did not run well. It was in a race he's never going to win. The speculation is that he was being run today in an attempt to bring his weight down for next year to come back for the Grand National. We'll have to wait and see. He's getting quite an old horse now, so who knows? But the 40 horses are Bristol Demai, Chris's Dream, Yala Enki, Ballyoptic, Definitely Red, Lakeview Lad, Borough Saint, Magic of Light, Acapella Bourgeois, Talk is Cheap, Tutor Permis, Annabelle Fly, Mr. Malarkey, Kimberlite Candy, Any Second Now, Backward of Flows, Alpha Dezobo, OK Corral, Taking Risks, Shattered Love, Jet, Lord de Mesnil, Potter's Corner, Class Conti, Milan Native, Discorama, Viola Rouge, Cloth Cap, Cabaret Queen, Manila Celebration, Canelo, The Long Mile, Give me a copper, far class, Manila time, sub-lieutenant, Hogan's height, double shuffle, Ami, Desboy, and Black Lion. Leading the market currently is Cloth Cap. I would tell you what the odds are, but I don't know right now. They're changing constantly, but Cloth Cap is the heavy favourite. And also we don't have the returning champion for this year. We do have the very well received virtual Grand National last year. We couldn't have the proper one. The winner of that, Potter's Corner, is entered. So if you think you can actually do it in real life, there you go. But not up there in the market. In other horse racing news, we had Richard Johnson retire, surprisingly, out of nowhere. On Saturday, he had a few rides. He rode the horse brother Ted into a third place in Newton Abbott, and then on the spot after the race retired. He's had more than 3,800 victories in his career, and it's only AP McCoy who has ever ridden more winners in jumps racing. He's also, I believe, a 3-time champion jockey. It doesn't say here at the moment. But yeah, he's been horse riding for 30 years. He's 43 years old, so he's been around a while. Well-renowned jockey. He's an unbelievable jockey.
When you said he's 43, I was after the 30 years. I was like, "What?" I thought you were gonna say like 60 or something.
No.
Wow.
No, obviously he's been riding since he was 13, but not professionally. Yeah, so he's been around a long time, and it did come as a bit of a shock. Obviously, loads of jockeys, owners, trainers coming out and just saying what a great guy he was and what a great jockey, and it shows what he's won. The fact that he's won multiple champion jockeys.
Positivity in the horse racing world. We've
for once.
Unexpected.
You don't often see it. But yeah, so sad to see him go, because obviously great jockey, but it did obviously pave the way for a new upcoming jockey to take the rides he would usually have.
Fair enough.
I will also, as well, the Masters starts today.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yes. I believe it's today. I'm sure it's today. Yes.
Hard-hitting journalism right here.
We have a live leaderboard, but obviously not everyone is through at the moment, so I probably won't go too much into it. Just currently.
Do they have favourites to win this?
Yeah. Just give me a sec.
No worries at all. We're just we're getting through the sports section right now. So in case you missed the wrestling section, go back to the start of the video. If you really want to watch the wrestling section, it lasts until the 15th minute, and then we start other sports. So
feel free to go through and skip it again.
Just let it run through. Don't even watch it. Just use it as a bathroom break.
No, you can't actually bet anything at the moment, as in for the winner. Yeah, sort of about that.
I'm sorry we wasted your time, everyone.
So yeah, I can't actually say much about this, to be honest, because it's ongoing. Like, they've had people started, but it's because of the time difference. There's so few that's gone through. I'd imagine top of the market was Dustin Johnson, as he was champion last year. Would make sense.
Who wasn't in it for a real? Was it Woods? Oh my god, that face. Oh no. Oh god, no. I press recording just as you did that.
I can't see you right now, by the way.
Oh, can't you?
So I don't know what's going on there.
I can see you, so
it doesn't make a difference to me. But
don't worry about it.
If anything, it's better for me.
Wow. Okay. He's airing me out, right? We're back, by the way. Yeah. I was going to edit out your face during that part, but now I'm leaving it all in.
Just put in a little technical difficulties.
We had some technical difficulties, but we're back. Tiger Woods was in a car crash. Continue, Sean.
Yeah, so he's not in the Masters this year because he's recovering from that.
Mm.
Let's move on.
What a brilliant fucking. We've had technical issues. Tiger
What more
Woods
do you want?
Tiger Woods nearly died. Anyway, next story.
Yeah, we're only supposed
I'm
to.
kidding.
What?
I'm
We're
kidding. It
only
was just
saying why
funny.
he wasn't
It was just funny.
why he
It was
wasn't
just funny.
involved.
Go.
So
It's fine.
I don't really have any more news on him. So bit pointless.
It would be pointless. Have you got gaming news? Gaming news next.
Yeah, because Sean's deals are back. It was
Sean's
supposed to
deals
be
are
deals of the
back.
week. It ended up not being deals of the week because they don't update enough. But PlayStation
Just do
have come out
deals
with
of
their
the
spring.
month.
It might be that, but it's their
Yeah.
spring sale, so it might last a little while. Anyway, we'd have some hot, new, fresh deals.
You sound
just
like you're selling fish at a farmer's market.
£1 fish.
What a classic.
£38.39 Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's the first one, down from 60 quid. If you haven't got the new Assassin's Creed yet, it's cheap on PlayStation. This is all PlayStation for a start, by the way. I do have Xbox later. I'm not prejudiced. I will cover both.
Valhalla is worth it if you enjoy the Assassin's Creed games. That's all I would say.
Woo. FIFA 21, the standard edition is down to £25. If you haven't got FIFA 21 yet, I've been told it's shit this year, so maybe not bother.
FIFA 21 is not worth it. Play FIFA 20 instead.
So also at this point, you're in April. Is there any point? You're
No.
not. If you're into Ultimate Team, you would have got it by now.
Literally,
the season's not far from being done.
Just wait for the after the summer. It comes out in September usually, doesn't it? September?
Yes. Yeah, September. Grand Theft Auto 5. If for some reason after 8 years you still don't have the game, £12.59. That's for the premium edition. Or to be fair, if you're like me and you've switched over from Xbox to PlayStation, you don't have it, you want to play it, you can get it, but it might be worth waiting until they bring out the PS5 version.
But the PS5 version, disclaimer, may be a free upgrade for the PS4 version.
And we cannot confirm or deny that.
It is most likely going to be, but
it's not being confirmed, Jimmy. You can't tell people.
I said disclaimer, might. I did put a disclaimer.
Okay.
There was a disclaimer. I said loudly disclaimer. There we go. It's not fake news. It's not fake news if it's true. If you really want to play GTA, you might as well get it. He's getting.
Anyway,
I'm going to interrupt him constantly and see how pissed off
he gets. Fuck you. Ghost of Tsushima, £31.34, down from £55.
Also worth it.
Last of Us Part 2, £23.64, down from £55.
Definitely worth it.
Red Dead Redemption 2, if you haven't played that for 3 years I've been out? Maybe? 2, 3? £27.49, down from £55.
Still very expensive considering it's been out for 3 years, but I'm not surprised. It's also worth it.
Yep. Formula 1 2020, £16.49, down from £55. Again, I'll probably wait till 2021. It's supposed to come out in July. Some news on that actually. They're listening to people apparently. They're having all the tracks for this season, which is great. It means Imola will return to the game. It means Portugal will be in the game. They're apparently adding 5 short tracks. Don't know what they'll be. I'm assuming Bahrain short because they used it last year, and 2 historical tracks. I'd imagine probably Turkey and maybe the Nürburgring because they were in last year. But yeah, it seems like they're listening and adding more tracks to the game. Fantastic. But yeah, it got leaked on the Microsoft Store, I believe, the other week. That it should be released. I believe it was the 19th of July. It's coming out. Nice. So keep your eyes on that. A small reduction for Hitman 3, the standard edition, £41 now from £55.
Love the game. Great game.
And the weird thing I found, I never knew this, is that apparently you have to pay for updates in PES. Even more reason to fuck PES. Because for some reason the season update has gone down from £25 to £8.24. But I'm assuming that's not the full game because that's way too cheap.
It might be, and they might have just changed the name to the season update.
I don't know, but if you have to pay for updates, that's bullshit.
Don't take our word. Look it up if you.
Are dickheads.
But that thing
is
the case. What was it? £8? You say £8?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
£8.24.
Look it up if you're interested, but I don't know. Don't take our word for it if it's the actual game or if it's a DLC pack or something.
Do your research.
Do your research, which we should be doing.
Because I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it for you. I'm bringing you the prices. You decide if you want it or not by looking at the game afterwards.
To be fair, if you're not interested in PES, you're not going to look anyway.
Exactly. But same thing with FIFA, to be fair. Season's almost over. Do you really want to bother? GT Sport, Gran Turismo Sport, £8. Great game. Been playing that. The new one's supposed to be coming out soon, but we don't know when. So for £8, you can't go wrong. We'll move on to Xbox. Oh no, the Crew 2 Deluxe Edition, down to £10. Both of us have been playing that recently. Very decent game. If you're into like your racing games that aren't like Sims, like simulation games, then yeah, Crew 2 is
more
great.
More arcadey games, like Forza Horizon style.
Yeah. Moving on to Xbox. Pretty similar. Expect it. It's the same sort of games that always get put on deals at this time of year. But if you're on Xbox, GTA 5 Premium Edition, £12.49. Let me just check. Is it cheaper? Which consoles? It's cheaper on Xbox. So if you have both and you still don't have it, save yourself 10p. Get on Xbox.
Or just buy it on whatever you want. 10p.
Formula 1 2020, £16.49. Let's compare again. Exactly the same. Doesn't matter if you have both. Get it on either. Rainbow Six Siege is £7.49 down from £25. Can't get that on PlayStation for that cheap. So get the Xbox. FIFA 21's also on there. We already spoke about that. £26. Skate 3. If you've never played Skate 3, buy it. It's $2.99. Greatest game in the world. Honestly,
we need Skate
what
4.
a game Skate 3 is.
If Skate 4 comes out, we need to all buy it.
If you've never played Skate 3 before, what have you done with your life? Buy it, £3. Also £3, Sniper Elite 3 Ultimate Edition. Great game. If you like the Hitman games, but you also like sniping, get Sniper Elite. Good games. If you, for some reason, you haven't played The Witcher 3 yet, the Game of the Year edition is $6.99. The normal version is $4.99.
Just get the Game of the Year edition.
Absolute bargain. Absolute bargain.
Game of the Year is worth it alone.
We have Red Dead Redemption again, $24.74. Maneater. That was a game that was popular about 6 months ago when it first came out.
It was free on PlayStation Plus recently.
But if you don't have a PlayStation, it's $16.74. So you can go and eat people as a shark.
It's probably not worth $16.74, but it's on there.
I mean, the original price is $33.49. So, but yeah, if you want to, if you want to go around eating people as a shark, there you go. If for some reason you want to traumatize yourself by playing the Marvel's Avengers game, that's £30 down from $60. How they ever thought they could charge £60 in the first place is beyond me. How they still think they can charge £30 is also beyond me. But yeah, that's
it wouldn't surprise me if it goes free to play eventually, like does a Destiny.
Because no one cares about it. Dead by Daylight, the special edition is $9.99. I feel like Dead by Daylight is a good game.
I think that was on offer on PlayStation as well. I'm not sure. Might be in some sort of deal.
Anyway, I think that about does it. Everything else is either not that great of a deal or games no one cares about. But Sean's deals were back.
Those are some of the biggest deals of this month currently. You can check through the store because there might be deals for games that you enjoy personally. There's usually thousands of items that go on sale every so often.
Always changing and everything. So keep updated yourself. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we'll cover bigger games, bigger deals, but not all of them. So depends what you're after. Mm-hmm. And if it's a game you are after that's not on sale at the moment, probably just wait a couple of weeks and it probably will be.
Yeah. I'm gonna butt in here because I have a little bit of gaming news.
Always interrupting me, Jesus.
Always interrupting. Well, you're done with your fucking segment, aren't you, Sean?
We'll have something else that's kind of related.
Bit of Mass Effect news. Bit of Mass Effect Legendary Edition news. The game is a month and 8 days away. It comes out on it's a month and how many days? 6 days, I think. Actually, it comes out on the 14th. It's the 8th today. I thought it was the 10th for some reason. No, the 6th for some reason, sorry. Anyway, they brought out some more footage and explained a bit more about the changes they've made. Mass Effect 2 and 3 only have small quality of life changes and graphical updates. They felt they didn't really need to do much. because if they did much, it would just take away from what made the original game so good, which is fair enough. Mass Effect 1 is the game, as we all knew, that needed the upgrades, that needed the gameplay upgrades, the graphical updates, and the graphical updates are now in line or relatively close to that of the graphical updates for Mass Effect 2 and 3. So they're all in 4K, whatever HD level of graphical update they've got. The game looks excellent. They've made a few design changes, like I think in Novaria, I believe the area is, in Mass Effect 1, there were walls that would block your line of sight when loading a level, just so they didn't have to load the whole level at once. Some of these walls are taken away so that you can basically see the whole level without having to go round, and it makes navigation easier. There's been quality of life changes. The Mako has had a complete redesign and is still being updated now before release. The Mako was a drivable tank vehicle in the first game, which was very divisive because you had to use it a lot and it wasn't very good. But with an update, it looks like it's much better and just makes that part of the game less tedious. Loading times have been confirmed to be shortened in elevators. Elevator loading times used to take about a minute, near a minute. You just sat in an elevator going up for about a minute. Now they take about 10 to 15 seconds, depending where you are, which is significantly better. You can skip them. Or they've actually left in a feature where you can actually stay in the elevator and just press a button to skip it, just for old time's sakes, because it was like a big meme among Mass Effect fans. The gameplay has been updated. We've seen a lot of screenshots of graphical improvements in different areas of the game and comparisons. So yeah, any Mass Effect fans out there, I definitely recommend picking up the trilogy next month. And for people who have never played it, yeah, back to you, Sean.
Yeah, so in typical slightly gaming, slightly not news, we're back to trading card news. And after the other week, we had mentioned that PSA were increasing their prices for grading cards. They came out early this week and basically said they're not accepting cards at the moment. The demand for just trading cards in general, so like your Pokemon, your baseball, any other sports cards, has got so high, they physically can't get through anymore. So there isn't a official statement. Whether Jimmy puts it on the screen or not will be up to him. But basically, they're turning and saying that the amount of cards that they receive in 3 days is more than what they would do, what they had in the previous 3 months. That's how many people are sending cards in, so they just physically can't get through them. So basically, they've stopped submissions. You can't send anything else. They're going to get through what they have, and then they'll slowly reintroduce their tiers. They have, if you don't know anything about it, they have different tiers of value, regular, express, depending on how quickly you get the cards through. They cost more the quicker it does. So they'll do the fastest ones first that cost more money, because I know a lot of people won't send bulk in from doing that. But yeah, so the trading card world in general has just exploded far more than anyone could predict, and the biggest card grading,
couple years.
Yeah, the biggest card grading company in the world can't keep up. But I think it's more just the way the hobby's like going in general, that so many people have come in and seen that you pay what used to be £10, now £20 per card as a minimum to grade them, and you can add almost at least £100, if not more, to the value of the card, depending on what the card is. So people are no longer buying them to keep in binders as you would before. They are buying them and wanting to stick all of these cards into slabs. So the amount that's being sent to them is just increasing massively. But yeah, so if you were planning on sending some cards off, you can't do it to PSA. You can go to other providers. So big ones being like Beckett's, probably the next biggest. CGC also do a lot, but expect their waiting times to increase because of this, because a lot of people will move from PSA to other smaller ones, especially people who are like trying to flip the cards. We just want to get into a slab, move on, or a lot of people just trying out new ones, new grading companies. So yeah,
It's been a bad time for
it's
cards to get popular again, considering COVID, which has
well,
probably
well
not
that's the
helped.
reason it has.
Yeah,
Yeah, the problem is that see, with people going out less, people have found themselves with a lot more spare money, so they're like, oh, I can get into this hobby. I have some money to have to buy the cards that they previously couldn't, which has made it blow up. But obviously, you then get problems on the other ends, which we've spoke about before with like the supply. Is that because of COVID, things obviously got shut down. There was a time, especially for PSA, where the whole of California was shut down, so they physically couldn't be open to grade cards. But obviously, they had supply issues, so obviously factories couldn't get workers in because they have either had to shut completely or they are not allowed as many people in at a time because they can't be as close to each other. So we've had supply issues, and now we're getting issues on the other end that probably for the same reasons that the grading companies had to shut, and they can have fewer members of staff in at a time to be able to grade and process things. And there's obviously been postal issues as well. Everything's been delayed from that recently. That it's just it's growing anyway, and then you've these other issues then just make it even worse. That you just can't keep up with what's going on.
yeah.
It is a crazy, crazy time for trading cards of all aspects.
Yeah. Well, that has been our card talk. We have no more gaming news, I don't think. Do you have any more?
Not for
Don't
me.
remember. Okay. Well, we will get to a little bit of TV and movie before we get to the trailers. I have here that The Witcher has officially wrapped season 2, which means they should be on track to release at the end of the year. I think it was December they were going to do it. If not December, it might be early next year. But as long as post production goes well, all the editing, everything goes perfectly fine, we should be seeing The Witcher season 2 by the year's end. Excited to see what they do. I know obviously it's an adaptation of the books, but they take their own liberties every so often. So I'm excited to see where they take the story, and excited to see Henry Cavill back on our screens. That is my Witcher news. Anything else?
Thank you. Yeah, it's more sad news. My two bits. One of why the fuck and anger, and one sad one. I'll start with the first one. Is that it's a series we haven't spoken about yet. There's a reason for this, which is the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We are going to wait for all the episodes to come out, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. It's kind of like a review, what we thought. Also, we don't really want to spoil anything for anyone who may be waiting for the episodes to come out. But Wyatt Russell, who plays the new Captain America in the series, has been receiving death threats, so has come off of social media, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because he's getting death.
We say it every time it happens with an actor. Separate the actor from the character. These aren't they get hired to do a role. They aren't actually taking over. Captain America doesn't exist. He's not real.
He is not actually Captain America. He is playing someone who has become the new Captain America. Do not attack the actor for it.
This is a comic book storyline as well. And it will be comic book fans that are doing the death threats for the most part. And you'll just sit here like, you should know how this story is going to end up in some sort of way. So why are you giving hate to this person? Like,
so I just don't get what goes through people's minds that they should do, like they need to do this. It's like he's literally just playing a role. The whole point is that you're not supposed to like this character. You're not supposed to accept him as the new Captain America. That's literally like how the story is built.
He garners sympathy. in the role, but at the same time, you can tell there's something a bit more evil. But does that justify death threats? No, you fucking idiots. No.
He's literally
Stop.
not a real person.
Stop.
But although obviously he shouldn't be receiving this, but it is kind of like a massive backhanded compliment of you're playing this character so well that people hate it so much.
This has the same energy
So
of people that tweet at heel wrestlers on Twitter, or just say weird shit and just like, you'll never be as good. I'm like, I'm just playing a role. Like, just, what's with all the death threats? Like,
he's literally an actor, and it's just stupid. I don't know why we have to keep talking about this like every month that there's someone new who's receiving either death threats or getting racially abused for something or whatever. It's
the world never
stupid.
changes. The world never changes. We were talking about Lil Nas X last week and the amount of threats and hate he got before he released the video, and then he released the
just
video.
For a music video.
Christians told him to go to hell, so he did, and they still got offended.
So it's absolutely ridiculous. But what I will say is, I don't think personally at the moment. I'm not going to spoil anything. Personally, I prefer WandaVision as a series. But obviously, there's still a long way to go in this series. It is more action packed. So if you're for like the more action, the fight scenes, those sort of things, then this will be good for you. But obviously, we still have a long way to go in the series of what's going to happen. But at the moment, it's all right.
Well, I'd say
I'm not going to pass too much of a judgment until we've seen all the episodes.
If we compare where WandaVision was at this point, WandaVision for many just started getting good at about episode 4. So in comparison, we're at episode 3. There are, I think, 6 episodes.
That's what it looks like.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
On IMDb, they've like the main characters are on there for 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Whether that's because they're slowly releasing, I don't know, but it looks like it's going to be 6.
So I think we're on track. I think they'll have a better second half of the season. Not that they've been bad. It's been a good show. For me, also, WandaVision was better, but we haven't seen the whole show, so I'm... And also...
Yeah, I'm not going to comment too much until we've seen all of it.
I binged WandaVision, whereas I'm watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier one week at a time. So I'm having a bit of a different experience with it. This feels like a weekly show, and every time an episode ends, I'm like, oh wow, I really want to watch the next part. But, we're stuck in this limbo. But we will be talking about another Disney Plus Marvel show soon, unless we have no more news, which we'll move on to next. But
I have one more. I have some more sad news.
Okay.
Which is that actor Paul Ritter has died, age 54. Yeah. Most people probably know him as Martin Goodman from Friday Night Dinner. He's also featured in The Bill, a UK TV show. He did feature in a very small role in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, in Quantum of Solace, and he was also in Chernobyl as well. Great TV show from a few years ago. So he died age 54 from a brain tumour that no one knew about, or wasn't publicly announced.
I don't like to compare deaths, but it reminds me of the way Chadwick Boseman went. No one expected it.
No one expected it. No one knew what was, like, no one outside of like his family and the immediate people in his life knew what was going on. So it did kind of come out of nowhere, especially with him. So 54, not that old still. But yeah, been suffering with a brain tumour, and they passed away earlier this week.
Yeah, big shame. He's been in, like we said, a lot of roles in a lot of big shows and movies. There's not much to say apart from go support his work, go watch Friday Night Dinner, go watch Quantum of Solace again. Not the best Bond movie, but still a pretty decent affair. Go watch Chernobyl. I personally haven't seen it, but one of the most highly rated.
You need to go and watch it.
I'm so behind on everything. It's on my list.
Disgraceful.
But this has prompted me to maybe move it up that list sooner rather than later. Such a shame. But something good that can come from this is that it highlights all the good work that he's done in the industry that a lot of people may not have realized. I didn't know he was in Chernobyl. I didn't
So
even remember he
a
was
lot
in
of what I
Quantum of
saw,
Solace. But yeah,
so a lot of what I saw on Twitter like the days after was people going, "Oh, I didn't realize he was in this. I didn't realize he was in Harry Potter." Admittedly, it was a small role, but he did feature in that. A lot of people saying they didn't recognize him in Chernobyl just because of how much of a different character it was to his Friday Night Dinner character. That it just shows how good he is as well from the range that he had. That he in two completely separate things, but did so well in both of them.
it's kind of like Bryan Cranston. When you watch Malcolm in the Middle and then watch Breaking Bad, you're like, oh, these are two different people, and this is exactly the
Yeah,
same there. Yeah, but rest in peace.
we'll move
We
on to
move
lighter
on to
news.
lighter news. I think it's time for the main event. Is it, Sean? Is it time for the main event?
Probably so. Probably so.
Probably so. The main event. Um, we were going to talk about Godzilla versus
It's
Kong.
John Cena. Oh, what? Sorry.
We were going to talk about Godzilla v Kong, but they're charging £20 near. I think it was £15 to watch the movie, to rent the movie, not even to buy the movie, to rent the movie. They're charging £15,
Unless you have HBO Max, which you don't
which
here
we
in the
don't
UK,
have in
so
the UK.
we can't have it and we can't do it.
So we're not paying £15 to watch Godzilla v Kong when it will probably be free in a month. So
But from what people are saying, it's a good film. From what I've seen other people say,
people have been saying it's the best of the MonsterVerse movies. The with every Godzilla type movie, the most hated part is the human characters, and this isn't any different. But if you're a fan
I've
of the
always thought they're
kaiju
weird
movies,
films though, because like it's a film that shouldn't really happen. Like, how does it take an hour and a half, 2 hours for a massive mutant lizard to beat a big gorilla? Like, it's a bit one-sided of a fight, isn't it? Let's be honest.
well, I don't want to spoil what happens in like. Well,
King Kong has weapons. That's what happens.
well, no, King Kong, like in the original, King Kong versus Godzilla, I think lightning actually makes King Kong stronger. But this is obviously a different character. I don't know if they incorporate this into this movie. The original King Kong actually won, but I think that was much more of a political move than it was anything else. I think that was a bit more of the US v Japan. But different case here. I'm excited to watch it, but this is not our main topic. Our main topic is the array of comic book trailers that have been released. Well, not just comic book, there is one more trailer we will put in. But I have 4 trailers here that we'll talk about quickly that I have seen every single one of, but we won't speak about which one Sean has seen. But we'll start off with a trailer for Suicide Squad, the green band trailer this time. The red band trailer was released a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe last week. I don't exactly remember. But
last week we spoke about last week.
It was last week. But this one was a green band trailer, which signifies, it's a bit less violent, but it also showcased a lot more.
No bright orange cocks, as I said last week.
No John Cena talking about cocks. Yeah, no bright orange cocks. What a classic podcast moment that was. But it showed a lot more of Nathan Fillion's TDK. I think the name's the detachable kid. Showed a lot more of him. Showed a lot more of Polka Dot Man, I believe, and just added a lot more. It was like a second trailer almost. It didn't feel the same. If you'd released this trailer like a couple months down the line, you would feel like it was a completely different trailer. So the fact that it was released like a week after was crazy. But yeah, that released earlier in the week. We also had a trailer for Loki, the next TV show to come after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It covers a lot of what we expected it to cover. So the whole point of the TV show is to show what happens after Loki took the Tesseract in the past in Endgame, and he gets captured by, I believe, like the time, a version of the Time Police sort of thing. And it just seems really interesting. Like, I know they advertise this as a bit of a mystery sort of show. Like, we don't exactly know what the show is about, other than the fact that it's about Loki getting caught up in something because he took the Tesseract. Like, the way the trailer's put together just doesn't give much away. He's being forced to work with these people, but at the same time, he probably has a plan to betray them. And they make a joke in the movie where, not movie, in the trailer where he just says, um, "Oh, you've betrayed so many people. You've betrayed like 100 people before. How do we know like you're not going to betray us or something?" And he's just like, "I won't betray you," sort of thing. Clearly, he's going to betray them. Like, it's a focal point of the trailer. But yeah, that was a cool trailer. Um, More Marvel news. Black Widow released a trailer. Didn't feel that much different to what we've got already. I think there was a bit more Taskmaster in there. I think it's Taskmaster who's the main villain. I'm going to double check that before I get moaned at. But it was a good look
by
at.
the 0 viewers. Good one.
What was that?
So can get moaned at by the 0 viewers.
0 viewers.
Love that. Everyone purposely moan at Jimmy. Do it.
Just moan at me for no reason. But yeah, it was Taskmaster. I was right.
Damn,
it's another trailer for a movie that should have been released a year ago. It was probably my least anticipated of these trailers. I feel like maybe if it came out a year ago, I'd have a different feeling. But yeah, the final trailer I have here is Space Jam, probably the most talked about trailer of the week, featuring LeBron James in the role, similar to what happened with Michael Jordan back in the day. But this trailer features a bit of a different twist to the original Space Jam. Jesus Christ, I just ate a curry and it's just coming up on me right now.
Lovely. Did not need to know that, but we'll carry on.
But yeah, Space Jam, Don Cheadle is the main villain, but it sort of takes on a bit of a Ready Player One feel. Like, there's a lot of Warner Brothers characters in this. The Iron Giant is in this. King Kong is in this. Apparently, there's going to be a scene featuring the Joker and Pennywise. This is a Looney Tunes movie. So
nice.
But there's a Game of Thrones reference in this. Like, they show the Game of Thrones logo and everything. Like, but it follows LeBron James getting sent, his son getting taken by Don Cheadle's master character, whatever he is, and LeBron James getting sent down to the Tomb World, where he gets animated for a short while. There's a lot of references to characters like Superman, Gandalf. But yeah, we see the return of Bugs Bunny, all the classics coming back for one more basketball match. And yeah, it features a lot of I'm not big on basketball. I mean, I like the sport, but I don't know a lot of players. But I believe the Goon Squad, which is the enemy team, is a bunch of basketball players from many different teams, and from there's I believe a player from the Women's National Basket Association as well. So yeah, it looked very interesting. I don't know how to feel. The original Space Jam is a great movie for nostalgic reasons, but it's also probably not the best movie in the world if you didn't grow up with it. So this might be along the similar lines, but I won't blame it for being a bit like, it's appealing to kids. It's not appealing to us, I guess, for the most part. But I am excited to see it. So yeah, those are the 4 big trailers that came out this week. So Sean, which movie or show are you most excited for from the list?
I kind of just want Black Widow to come out at this point, but I've been waiting so long for it. It's probably that one because it's had the most run up to it, I think.
I guess.
Whereas because all the others are still like the timing of them coming out are like when kind of like when they're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, okay, they're coming out. Whereas Black Widow's just been going on for years. So it's just like, please just.
Black Widow
Just let
should
me
have had
see
a
it,
movie
so-
10 years ago, let alone last year.
Just let me watch it so we can shit on it for it being shit after all this time. Because it's what's going to happen. But yeah, that's the one, just because we've been waiting so long for it. For me, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Black Widow is surprisingly at the bottom of my list, just because I feel like I'm the opposite. I feel like they've waited too long for it, and I no longer care that much. And it's going up against a stacked card. I'm a big DC fan, and I really like James Gunn, so I'm excited to see Suicide Squad the most. I feel like this will be a bit of a redemption for what Suicide Squad was originally. And I know Warner Brothers have decided to keep their nose out and give James Gunn the control he needs. And any changes they've made have been approved by James Gunn himself. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. It feels like it's going to be a big cheesy violent affair, and that's what I like in my comic book movies. Space Jam also, it will be up there just for nostalgia feelings, but I don't know how it's going to turn out, so I'm not keeping high hopes. And like, he's just going to be good, isn't it? I don't think they haven't had a failure yet, so but yeah, that's just my opinion on this sort of matter.
Your opinion is normally wrong, but
is it though, Sean? Is it wrong? Is it wrong, Sean? Is my
most
opinion
of the time, yes.
Well, let's not start a fight on the end of this podcast, Sean. Come on now. But yeah, Sean's looking forward to Black Widow. I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad the most. We shall see what is better. We shall see if it all turns out alright, I guess. I feel like a lot of DC movies are hanging on Suicide Squad's success. Well, not a lot of DC movies, but a lot of the DCEU, whether or not they stay in the same universe or they sort of do, the new Robert Pattinson Batman movies and keep going from there. But with the success of the Justice League Snyder Cut, Justice League Snyder Cut, like, anything can happen. There's been, I think, a lot of tweets on Twitter, like thousands of people hashtagging restore the Snyder Cut. I think Snyderverse, sorry. So I think we may see Warner Brothers go back on what they're saying, but I think Suicide Squad will be a catalyst for this. If it's successful, we may be seeing more. We still will be seeing more because we announced last week all of the DC movies that are coming out. So go watch last week's podcast for that list. But for now, we shall be saying goodbye. Next week, I don't know if we're doing two separate podcast editions. I don't know if we're just doing one. Who knows? But WrestleMania is this weekend.
But if you click the subscribe button and the little notification bell, you'll know if there's one or two.
You'll find out.
Just no hint there.
Future plans for some podcast episodes. We will be in a few weeks' time doing a Falcon and a Winter Soldier recap and review. Mid to late, I think probably late May, we will be doing our Premier League season review. That will be one of the big ones. But in between, we'll be doing just whatever's big this week. That week, sorry, the week that we go through. So yeah, but expect a lot of wrestling next week, regardless if it's in this podcast or another one. Sean will still be here.
I'm not turning up.
He will be here. He'll just be playing Gran Turismo Sport in the background. He's not turning up.
Won't turn up.
He won't be here.
Going AWOL.
Too busy dyeing his hair. But anyway, we'll see.
Gotta do what we gotta do.
Follow us on Twitter. I will be live tweeting NXT Takeover Night 2, but that would have already happened. I'll also probably be live tweeting WrestleMania as it goes on. Probably not in depth because I actually want to focus on the shows, and there's a lot of it. But I will be tweeting the results most likely. Follow us on Twitter for any news. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Read up on the articles and the podcast stuff we have on the website reverbium.com. We still have the F1 articles from the past few weeks on there.
Helps if you're writing new articles for people to
read. Yeah, okay, sure. But yeah, anyway.
Same. No one wants to read about news from 2 years ago, Jimmy.
You know what? That's fair. We have a lot of stuff on there, though. We do have a lot. You'd be surprised. One of the first articles we did on there was a Blu-ray review, and it still gets the most views every day. Like, for anything, for some reason, is ridiculous. But anyway, follow us on all these platforms and check us out in the weeks to come. See you later.